Okay, so I'm really not sure how I want to have this video go. And I've been meaning to put together some new videos the past few days. A lot of the stuff that I talk about related to the idea of Myers-Briggs, INFJ being my temperament, seems to be received well by the few folks I've talked to so far, and I'm genuinely excited about that. And I'm happy to see where that goes, and I hope that this channel continues to grow, and I will be able to keep just kind of putting myself out there, and that's pretty much it. Putting myself out there and seeing where it goes. Beyond that, I do hope that I can do something that is helpful and deemed, I guess, relevant to the needs of those out there who seem to not find perspective that they're looking for. You know, in that it would give them a sense of validation that maybe they aren't alone in the way they experience their life. I hope I can contribute to that. With that being said, this video now has nothing to do with, maybe it does, it probably does. But my intent in this video now is to, I guess, let out a little steam. Before I hit record here, I actually was a little riled up. And it's because I was allowing myself to think for the past, 4 or 5 hours on some stuff. And recently I had been in some conversations with friends, and some debates came up which were, as one might say, triggering of certain segments of populations. Now, in that group of people, no one seemed to be really riled up, except for me, because I felt like we weren't getting anywhere in this debate. Everyone just kept trying to make a point and then not actually going anywhere with it. I don't know. It was a lot of, excuse the language, but verbal masturbation going on, and I wanted to see it go somewhere a little bit more productive. And the topics being talked about were mostly identity politics based. And I see that being kind of a trend right now. Certainly you could see it, you turn on any news station, you read any comment section on the internet, no matter the article or social media outlet or anything like that, if there's comments, you're going to see different segments of populations represented based on ideas of who those folks are as a group or as a collective. And that I understand, but at the same time I feel there's a severe lack of self in all of this. It seems that there's a lot of people making a lot of noise because maybe they feel they're not being heard. And in the political climate that we're in now, I wanted to make some points, and so I started writing something. And hi, good boy. My dog can tell I'm getting a little agitated, I guess. He came over with his ears down, big-eyed, making sure I was okay and not mad. At least at him. I'm not. But I was starting to write something earlier today, last hour or so, and it's very rough right now, but I guess the format it was coming out is something that I think I'd like to say, and so I'm going to read some of what I had written. Excuse the cadence in which I recite it or read. I literally just wrote from the top of my head, and then Hadn't gone back and edited. It doesn't even come to any points at the end, but maybe it'll get me somewhere with what I'm trying to articulate. So, with all that being said, I would like to read what I wrote here. I'm not proud. I'm not proud to be gay. There. I said it. Now, that might sound clickbaity, and maybe it is. Or maybe it's a contrarian thing to say or do in this love 'em or hate 'em socio-political climate that we find ourselves in, where everybody's on a team and they're rooting for a team, often competitively against other teams. And that sort of dichotomy thinking, where it's us versus them and divisiveness, is extremely nearsighted, especially for the fact that it's often based on things that we don't really control on our own. And so I'd like to continue reading. Maybe what I said is just a way for me to say the truth, my truth, and perhaps a truth I hope more share. I am not proud. I'm not proud to be gay. I'm not proud to be white. I'm not proud to be male, and I'm not proud to be American. Maybe this is because I feel so incredibly apathetic to the idea that something which may simply be attributed to the or fortunate accident of circumstances. The disparity between fortune and unfortune being perspective and circumstance. Through the perspective of existing within a context, that which I'd argue is a placement within a system larger than oneself, which consists of many facets. These factors may be seen as matters of political, ideological, philosophical, biological, and other natures. Natures being a kind of a big word there. Most of which can be argued as given to the individual at birth and further refined or defined through opportunities seized or not based on continuing circumstances. That is to say, I believe one who is proud of their winning a specific circumstantial existence is woefully misguided in thinking that they earned it. And so, it's with a sense of clarity, and dare I say, a modest pride, I'm not proud of who I am biologically speaking. I am not proud of the time, place, or perspective that I was given at birth, period. However, I do choose to be grateful for the mere fact that I'm alive, and I recognize that I am fortunate enough to be able to seize opportunities afforded to me by the lucky accident of my existence. At least, accidental on my own part. It would be unwise, arrogant, and perhaps a bit too prideful of me to assume I can know otherwise. Be that of a predestined fate which is guided by divine forces, or billions and billions of years, I don't even know how long, of successful attempts at survival through evolution to create the person who sits here right now talking to you in this place, in this context in which I find myself. I would be proud if I could be. The truth is, I'm fortunate to know that I simply exist and choose to do something about it. Regardless of my fate being sealed by predetermined factors which got me here, I am cognizant that I am capable of making choices given the circumstances I am fortunate enough to have found myself in. It's a bit long-winded. For sure, it's wordy. But I feel strongly about that. Regardless of what got me here now, or anybody where they are now, and how, and why, and it almost, for the most part, doesn't matter because we choose now if we take a step, if we move forward. I think that's so important. I continue. So, that is to say, regardless of what got you to where you are here and now, you are the only factor in choosing whether you will succumb fully to the momentum created by those circumstances, or whether you will take that fateful step forward to create an existence that's integral to you. I am proud of the steps I take, and every misstep, which has led me to the position I find myself in, and has given me new perspective from where I once stood. Literally and metaphorically, of course, speaking. I am proud to choose to continue moving forward and seeing all that life has to offer in this great big system of so many facets and factors. To that end, I am proud that I am fortunate enough to be an agent of change within the system, whether I'm capable of being, and that's where I stopped. But I guess where I was going with that is whether I'm capable of being a significant factor which is able to do so much on my own, or that I can create change through creation of momentum that I make through my movement in space and time, which might create new circumstances of those around me and persuade or maybe literally bump into others to do things that they wouldn't have done had I not done that. To say that at a personal level, I can't choose to do anything because everything is too grand to make any significant change is nihilistic. And I choose not to be that because I think there's no pride in that. I think it's accepting of, well, it's accepting of the status quo, and it's irresponsible, I believe, because I believe we all have the capacity, well, most, right? Some more than others, given whatever circumstances you find yourself in. And no matter your identity or who you are as a person, or your physical limitations, if you're able to do something at all, you're afforded that opportunity, and it's up to you to choose to do something with it. Whether you see it as being worth it is up to you too. I bring all this up to say that I'm not proud of the things that make me who I am based on circumstance, but rather I'm proud of the choices I make given those circumstances. So to say that I'm proud of being gay is not correct. I am proud to be me. I'm proud to make the choices I make. I am proud to choose to try to live a life that is one of integrity, that the work I do is meaningful to not just myself but those around me, and that I can help to create lives which hopefully enable others to do the same. That is what it comes down to for me, and the most rewarding thing I can do. And you know, I do have existential dread all the time that maybe I'm not doing enough to do that, and you know, what am I doing with such little significance in the things that I do, or maybe I'm not even doing anything. Maybe I'm full of crap. You know, that's my own personal battle. But the point remains, it doesn't matter because I still choose to do the things I choose to do, or not do. That is what I'm proud of. And even when they're mistakes, that's okay. I still chose not to do certain things. And because of those choices, I can be proud that I've had an impact, that I freaking did something to bring about, hopefully, a positive difference in the universe, and that I am a part of evolution, maybe in the small and seemingly insignificant steps that I've taken forward in this long line of billions and billions of years of evolutionary choices. It's up to us now. We have a cognition to be able to choose what we do with our fate, and to sit around and not make choices for a greater good, to say that there is no point in doing certain things, or that things are destined to fail in a system or society that we're in because nobody can come to agreement, well, it's on you and me and everyone else who has the ability to do anything to find consensus and agreement or to make something happen. If that agreement cannot be found, there's still ways to concede certain factors and come to some sort of new reality. You know? I don't know. I get frustrated. So, to say that I'm not proud of being gay is accurate, because I believe that I don't have a choice in that, in the things that I choose to use that label to represent. But that doesn't matter, because I do choose to be in a very happy and I would say like productive, I don't know why that word comes to mind, but relationship with another guy. And if that bothers anyone, it's their issue. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything they don't want. It's positive things. I'm not proud to be white, because it literally means nothing to me. Other than that, there's a bloodline and genetics and a certain sequence of events that happened based on certain people coming together and breeding and creating me, and out came a genetic lottery of my existence being Caucasian. Now that, to those who are into that stuff, what the hell is that called? I don't know, racial crap. To those who are into that and like saying, spouting the differences between races and claiming superiority over one or another, it doesn't really do much other than to say that like others are inferior. At least that's the way I see it. And to what end is that useful or productive? I don't get it. If those who are claiming a certain identity is refused or diminished, maybe there's a reason, maybe it's symptomatic, and I think those who are able to communicate coherently can come to some sort of terms on opposite sides and opposing views to say that one identity, which may be feeling misrepresented or minimized, has valid concerns, even if historically it seems like a crock of shit. Sorry to say. Really calling out the alt-right right there, and the alt-right, and the true alt-right, and the conservatives, and the this and the that. Whatever language you folks want to use, it doesn't matter, because it's a bunch of verbal masturbation. Live a real life off the internet for a minute or two. And I know it's funny because I'm saying it here and now in this video. But live a real life. One which has integrity based on your views. If you think that as an alt-right person, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, alt-righter, somebody who, from my understanding, feels that they're being minimized, their existence and their culture. Although I think culture is supposed to be the wrong word now in that group. Whatever. But let's be honest, it is culture. Just keep going. You perpetuate what you want. And if you find that you have to keep living in dark corners of the internet, maybe there's a reason for that. Or if you find the right way to speak to the true nature of what is being debated or poorly debated, maybe others will come to the light you're trying to shine on some issue. But understand that you're coming from a place of a very long line of a group of people who have been in power for so long, and with the I don't want to say the tables being turned, because I don't think they are. I really don't. But with things shifting, there are forces at play that do create a sense of urgency and survival for that group. Maybe there's a better way to relate to those who have already been through it, Maybe there's a way to come together. Maybe it's about having a culture of understanding so that communication can happen. Because truthfully, a culture of just force doesn't seem to be the way to go anymore unless you truly are nihilistic and think none of it matters and you just want to blow the whole fucking thing up. Anyway, this took a right turn. If you're proud of being white, think about why. Because you were just born into it. If you're proud of being straight, gay, transgender, female, feminist, or anti any of those things, you're probably doing it wrong. Be proud of the choices you make in the life you live and the legacy you make, or leave behind, I should say. Everything else is almost a distraction, because we are a collective as a humanity, and we can be subdivided biologically speaking, but we can also be subdivided culturally speaking. And that's truly what's happening with this identity politics crap. And I think it needs to be tempered a little bit. And we all need to look to the true causes for the symptoms that most groups and identitarians feel are their pain points. Because I believe there are some commonalities, and maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, don't be proud of crap that you don't control. Be proud of the fact that you have the ability to choose certain things given your circumstances. Regardless of how confined, constrained, or minimal those choices may seem to be, you still got them. You're still alive. And you have them until you're dead. Unless you can come back from that, then, then you could do more then. But, do something productive. Don't just spew hate. Don't just spew bigotry. And don't fuel the flames of identity politics, because there's a bigger game at play that we are all a part of. Okay, that's enough of that rant. If you think this is something that needs to be put out there, talked about more, please like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and share it. There's a lot of people out there who are very much into their identity based on certain labels that may be superficial, as in literally or metaphorically skin deep. In the metaphorical sense, they're choices that are not made by ourselves, they're choices that were predetermined by people preceding us, and the timing in which it all happened, and the location in which we found ourselves. So, you don't control any of that. You control where you are now and where you're going next. So, I think we can all stand to think about that critically, and maybe have a further discussion based on those ideas. All right, that's that. Bye.